Alright everybody, we have our second best semi-final here, the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final, and currently Epsilon Esports is going up against Team Umbra. It's a best of 3 series, and we have a Rega ban. The question is Xul gonna be banned or not? Team Umbra, I don't know why, but like, the first thing that comes to mind is Umba, 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 ta-da-da, which is probably more of a German thing than anything else, but I can't help it. That's the first thing that I have to think about now. Okay, so let's see. Currently, Epsilon Esports, are they going to ban out Xul, yes or no? We have seen Xul already today. He is allowed. There's actually like no bans at this point. All of the heroes are allowed. But for first pick, Xul could be a thing. And Epsilon Esports is actually thinking about it right now. They are looking at everything that's happening and they're saying like, okay, can we deal with him? Is there chance that our opponent don't even go for that? So, yeah. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen now. Because I would really love the Necromancer. I would love to see him in the game again, but I can understand if someone bans him out. I mean, already earlier, the snipe against all the targets that Xul could just like lock down with the Bone Prison was pretty much insane. It was crazy. The problem, of course, was also that the Polish team that played against the Sandwich Monkeys drafted a very melee-heavy setup with a huge front line, and therefore Xul, with this Poison Nova in particular, was able to shine and get a lot of damage out. It might be that we actually have another... I think we have another... Now they ban him. Wow, they really waited until the last moment, but they decided in favor of a ban on Xul. Sad for us, but still, Team Umbra, they could go for Li Ming, of course, here if they wanted to. Zagara, very strong early on as well. Now that Rega is already banned out, definitely one of the priority picks. Or you could go into a Thrall. I would say that these three, maybe with the addition of a Falstad, are the bans that are going to be the most contested now. And Li Ming is going to be taken, so let's have a closer look at what's going to happen for Epsilon Esports. Again, we are having probably heroes around Zagara, Thrall, Falstad. Those three are probably going to be like the most contested heroes for now. At least they give you a lot of options on the map. Falstad by now is more or less the king of Curse Hollow. And he's chosen. The King of Curse Hollow is in play with his control thanks to the Mighty Gust all over the map. It's just like way too strong. Like he's either banned or he's being picked, one of the two. So Falstad is going to reign supreme again. And besides that, let's see how we are going to, or what's going to happen with that second pick. I still feel that Zagara would be very powerful here. She's very strong in this setup. But then again, ETC, okay, ETC chosen very early here already. He is one of the most preferred tanks actually these days. Usually you find him in a double tank setup, but he can be played solo as well. Team Umbra, they have now their own double pick, and they already have some damage with Li Ming. So we are looking at Zagara again. Zagara is a good chance, and we could also see, of course, a couple of things that would work against the Mosh Pit. Muradin, with Stormbolt, for example. We could also like see Thrall. Like it depends really a bit of if you want to play with one of the bruisers at the front line, yes or no. And then Sonya and Thrall are both really good options, but Thrall is usually chosen over a Sonya, or at least in a lot of cases. It's a bit of a different focus that you have in the heroes, but whoa, they are changing it up immediately. They go heavy damage here at the start. I did not expect such a huge focus on Lunara early on, and then Johanna just behind that. So that opens up, of course, a couple of possibilities right now. That means that we still have heroes like Thrall available. We have also, of course, still the... Well, first of all, we have no supports being picked at this point, so Epsilon could actually like ban out another support and then pick one, so to limit even more the options that Team Umbra has. But besides that, we have still a couple of tanks around, and we also still have that Zagara in play. So Muradin is being banned out. That means less interrupts against ETC are available. We're having, for Epsilon Esports, the opportunity to pick that Zagara to combo the more off with the Mosh Pit. Team Umbra, when it comes to bans, I'm a little bit curious to see what they are going to ban out. Greymane in terms of damage is still around, so if they wanted to limit the damage options, they could go for a Greymane ban here. I would in this case even consider a ban. I can understand the Jaina to a certain extent, but these days I feel like the European meta is moving away from Jaina again. We have seen Jaina a few times in Katowice at the regional finals, but really not too often. I personally think she was underplayed, but I feel it is a bit symptomatic for the European region that they are moving away from Jaina, and I don't really feel that you necessarily needed a ban on her. Epsilon Esports has a lot of options at this point. They can, first of all, either play a Sonya or a Thrall. Greymane was predicted a bit earlier. I'm not really surprised to see him taken here. If they wanted to, they could still go into the Zagara, but I wouldn't really mind to see someone else helping ETC out at the front. And if you go into Mosh Pit and also the Thundering, that can work. There's an Uther. I like the Uther here. We have seen actually a couple of games earlier where Rhaegar was not available anymore and where Uther was just let go. And I feel like the Divine Shield Mosh Pit and also the Greymane play with Worgen Form plus Divine Shield are very powerful. So both of those are quite nice. And Epsilon Esports, they're actually like saving the last slot to adjust, and I like that a lot. So they can actually go for more damage if they feel that ETC is going to be fine on his own, or they can just simply say, well, let's go for another tank, or just simply a Thrall there. Team Umbra, they need heals, and right now when it comes to heals, I suppose I'm currently looking at it. I mean, like oftentimes one of the healer that we sometimes see against the setup would be a Brightwing. Brightwing isn't really played in Europe though. Malfurion surprises me. What? Artanis! Alright. Artanis plus Johanna. Malfurion is a bit of a surprise, I have to say, because I don't really... I look at the setup right now and I don't really understand why Malfurion. Brightwing offers the polymorph against the ETC Mosh Pit, and you can also use it against the False Stat before he Mighty Gust. That works. Here comes the Abathur right now. So, this is a very curious setup, to be honest with you. Malfurion, I'm very curious about that. You have a double front line that helps, so you can get a lot in. But still, this is a bit of... This is a really interesting setup that we see right now for Umbra. I don't like it. I have to be honest here. I don't like it. Malfurion oftentimes shines against a lot of AoE damage when you can get the Tranquility in. But his root can... I guess he can get a bit out of this. But I'm not quite sure if I like that Malfurion too much. I would rather have seen with a double front line a Charism, to be quite honest with you. When they played with Johanna only, they could have gone into a few adjustments here as well. But right now, I think they had enough option to go with a different front line. Even a Tacita Tyrande would have been an option. But yeah, let's see how it's going to work out. It's the first game in the best of 3 series. We have Abathur chosen, and with Abathur, of course, we can also see a double Greymane right now. Abathur for the experience soak on the lane as is. So guys, game number 1, Cursed Hollow, is going to start up right now. Game number 1 in the best of 3 series at the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final. We're in the semi-final currently, and we have to the left side of the map Epsilon with Stalk on ETC, Sphyxy on Falstad, the king of Cursed Hollow, Styr on Greymane, Unstable on Uther, and Andy Lendy on Abathur, the Slug Attack. To the right side of the map, Devo and Lunara playing here for Team Umbra, and we're seeing Tatze on Johanna, Knacksaft on Artanis. Yes, you heard right, Artanis is actually being played. Xovolosh on Malfurion, and Saber on Li Ming. I especially like that Malfurion pick. Like, Malfurion and Artanis were picked last for Team Umbra, and both of those picks still surprise me a little bit. I mean, one of the things that Malfurion adds is definitely his Innovate. It helps to keep the mana in the early game on heroes like Lunara and also Li Ming alive, but in the later stages of the game, it plays less of a role. And the problem is that they are really lacking a lot of interrupts against the potential Mosh Pit. They have, of course, Johanna that can be used with the Condemn and the Blessed Shield, but besides that, there's very little that can interrupt the Mosh Pit on ETC. And that's going to become a huge problem in the later stages of the game. One of the things that they could have brought in instead is maybe even a Brightwing plus a lesser utility support that could have been a bit better, but for now they're trying to play this particular setup, and I'm personally very curious to see how this is going to work out for them. Malfurion has the healing power for sure, but his Tranquility doesn't really meet any kind of big AoE spells on the side of the opponent. So I'm a bit curious to see what exactly Malfurion is going to be able to do in the later stage of the game. Now at the beginning, he's definitely going to add quite a bit. Innovate is a nice addition, and I suppose that they can also like try to root the target down. There's also a couple of slows available, but overall Malfurion a bit of an odd pick here. The cool thing is though that we have now, after the changes in the recent patch, also Artanis in play. And first of all, Artanis is starting things off with the reactive parry that you can see here. So it's more or less a bit of a block charge that he gets on this. Besides that, we are seeing the envenomed nests taken. And of course, also Abathur was a little bit changed. Abathur's nest build was very annoying for a long time right now, and Blizzard actually said that it's a bit too strong, so they reduced the slower a bit, and we're going to talk about that later on. We're going to either see those talents or adjustments triggered by it. So Blizzard, with the changes that they currently implemented in patch 16.4, more subtle changes than anything else, but we'll see how they are going to play out. We've seen a Vala here today already with a bit of an adjusted build, for example, and we also have, of course, adjustments on the side of Falstad that haven't really come into play yet. But now we have the Gathering Storm, and that is going to be an interesting play, because Fixie is already showing here that we have slight adjustments on Falstad, so now you have 2 damage every time you damage an opponent's hero with that in addition, and that was double. That was actually from 1 damage up to 2. Falstad with the power throw here still. And he also got a bit of a buff on his updraft, which now has, I think, 40%, was it 30, 40%? I don't remember quite, but a 10% increase on the range on it, which is also pretty sweet. The talent was already used before, but only by some players, not really by all of them. Mene, for example, on Infernal Shrines really like to take the talent. In this case, we have now finally even a buff on it, and that is going to help as well. The team is currently trying to get some lane presence, with the Siege Giants being captured here towards the right side of the map. Malfurion on level 1, by the way, decided to go into the scouting drone to give a bit more vision on the map itself, so not the cooldown reduction that we sometimes see on the Innervate, nor the Moonburn with the increased damage against minions and mercenaries. We have Prolific Dispersal used again. Level 4 talent didn't really get changed. Malfurion very much alone. Uh-oh, dude, that were... yeah, mistakes were made. Malfurion had no business there. I think if you're 10,000 years old, then occasionally you're going to get lost on the map, and that's probably what happened there. So he was like, trying to ask somebody for the way. Unfortunately, it turned out to be one of the opponent's team, and they also found a few friends, so that was not really what Malfurion was out for. We have on level 4 also now the Alacrity chosen with the Blade Dash. That's actually like a talent that has also been played before, so we're going to, especially a little bit later, see the changes on Artanis maybe come in. Stalk already in the mid lane, up against 3, needs to be careful there, but is able to move away, and as well is still up, so that works for him. He's also currently on level 7, so they have a slight lead in experience, and that gives us now Boomerang! There we go. Alright, so Boomerang actually, like the way that it works, first of all, it got a slight damage increase, and also like the AoE, so to say, got increased a little bit. And the way that Blizzard has been explaining it, that it matches the explosion now a little bit more. We're going to see that over the course of the game, so once that you actually order the Boomerang back, it's going to be quite visible. Already Sphyxian knocks off with a fight, and there we go, the potential kill even, but Abathur is a bit too late to help out up here. Sphyxia, on the other hand, is really starting to get a lot of damage in at this point. Like, he's doing really well here to the top. When it comes to the talents, we have now both teams on level 7, and in the case of, yeah, here's the Wild Nest, the movement speed, 40% for 3 seconds. Before that, it was even like a longer duration, was on 4 seconds and 50%. So that got changed quite significantly, which is incredibly important when we're talking about all of these talents. So that's definitely something that we have to take into consideration here. Already, the Stalk is not rooted. Okay, so he escapes the root. Abathur is taking position up at the top to get the experience. That's what he's currently trying to do. Cuts it with the auto attack. In comes Stalk on the other hand. They go once again for Malfurion. He's dead at the immediate kill against Artanis as well. A double kill for Epsilon. They're starting to move in, and of course with Fixie now also channeling the tribute again. This is going to be tribute number 2 for Epsilon. But great play here by them. Yeah, Storks and Stör already moving down to the bottom. An adjustment on level 7 now with the Warp Sickness, which is actually pretty cool. I mean, in this case, you have that slow as well, so you get more control, and especially the chase potential that we have on Artanis is even increased by the talent here. We have also the Wild Vigor now being chosen, but overall, you can really tell that at this point, Epsilon is starting to get way and way ahead. I mean, they're closing in on level 10, they're level ahead, they are up at the top lane now with Sphyxie pressuring the lane even more. The towers are already out of ammunition, and Sphyxie is just accumulating shot after shot here with his Boomerang, and especially, of course, the Gathering Storm, which is incredibly powerful here for him right now. Down to the bottom of the map, we are still, or in the middle first of all, we have Unlandy still in position on his Abathur. There's the level 10 now. And with level 10, we're seeing again the ultimate evolution. The move from Abathur down to the bottom of the map where he's trying to soak some experience. And the rest of the team is starting to collapse into the middle, whereas up in the top lanes, Fixie is still doing his thing. The Tribute is spawning towards the top now. And we have Uther already on his way. Hinterland Blast being used. Now that's also, of course, a talent that got a bit improved by Blizzard just recently. Most of the players still go for the Mighty Gust. And I personally am impressed and also a little bit shocked, to be honest with you, that we don't have Mighty Gust taken on this map. It's the best map for Mighty Gust in the entire map pool. The control that you get over the two bosses is absolutely insane. But right now, it's a fight for the Tribute. And of course, Umbra needs to fight here. Here comes again ETC and the kill against Malfurion once again. So they're starting to move over. Malfurion is out. And that means that in this case, they have absolutely no chance to really fight this battle. In comes Andy on his copy on Greymane. We have, by the way, also for Artanis, the suppression pulse used here. Oh my god, the Hinterland Blast. A perfect corridor. And nice damage here on Falstad. Well played. Great job here by him. Also the wave of force on the side of Li Ming. We've seen a talent already chosen on the side of... I actually don't even know who it was. I think it was Dignitas in the last game that they played in the grand final of the regional finals against Team Mindsanity. But they were able to make that happen. Abathur has been taken out, just as a side note. So Abathur at the bot lane, apparently. The Slug has been eliminated here by Lunara. But it really doesn't change the fact that we have still Stork in the mid lane, wreaking havoc here, starting to take down even more of the structures. No bosses taken so far. And at the top lane, a bit of a power play by Sphyxia and his boys. Again, the hit. Boomerang activated now as well. And Sphyxia is really starting to get some serious damage here on the board. I mean, we're talking 18,000 at this point, and that leaves him with the top damage in the entire game. Here comes Malfurion being attacked once again. Suppression Pulse has been used, but it's a bit too late, and Malfurion is down for the 4th time. Again, the damage. Sphyxia with the numbers, and the Divine Shield on Stör. They are wrecking everyone right now. A triple kill as Li Ming dies, and Artanis is also falling. This is a disaster for Team Umbra. 13 versus 11 currently, the levels here. And also, of course, like the talent, the 13 talent is ready. Group is chosen. We're still seeing on the side of Falstad on level 13 Giant Killer taken. Against Artanis and Johanna, I guess that makes sense still. Already a slight change also in the way that Uther is building his build. Going for the Shrink Ray here with the Running Wild also for Greymane. And now that they're not only 2 levels ahead, but also a talent, they start to go for the boss. And they are going to get an easy boss down to the bottom of the map. There's no contention whatsoever. Nothing really they can do about this. So this is a really annoying situation. I mean, this in particular, I mean, suppression pulls with the blind can be quite powerful. I mean, think about Greymane jumping in together with Falstad, and all of a sudden you have the suppression pulls hitting, and then everybody is blinded for 4 seconds. This is incredibly powerful, and against auto-attack damage dealers, that helps a lot. The issue is that Sphyxia is actually starting to go into a completely different build here and doesn't go into the normal auto-attack build, so that makes the suppression pulls a little bit less powerful in a situation like this. Also, one of the things that we have to talk about is that we have now the wave of force taken, and that means that you have to be careful that you don't push the opponent out of the suppression pulls. Not really the best synergy between the two talents. Knaxat and his boys at the bot lane are currently dealing with one of the bosses, but of course we all know what that means. That at the top we have boss number 2 claimed by Epsilon as well. So Epsilon is currently controlling the map. They are having complete control. They are in a situation where they are aiming for level 13, and they are very likely to hit that very soon. For 16 actually. 16 could even hit before. Nah, the level 13 talent is going to hit a little bit faster for Umbra, but still, it's a very annoying situation for them. We have also the Bombard Strain chosen. The boss is pushing the top, and Falstad is with him. Falstad could always go for another Hinterland Blast. Back in the day, talent was called Shock and Awe. You all know why, because first the opponent was shocked, and then they were awed. But for now, we're having Stork just like waiting to see if he can maybe get a mosh pit through. Keep in mind, there are not a whole lot of interrupts, so it's going to be a bit more... It's going to be easier for him to actually get a mosh pit in. And they're just waiting for a chance to jump in here. Already Uther with a hardened focus on level 16. No benediction for him. No benediction, hardened focused instead, and also an adjustment on Greymane with the Alpha Killer. Now, that is an interesting talent to take. Normally, of course, it's a cocktail build that we see. if we are talking heroes, then especially Alpha Killer is one of the talents that I could see, for example, against the Cho'Gall. It's not really a talent that I would expect in a normal game, but against Cho'Gall it can be absolutely amazing. In this case, on the other hand, you have a Johanna and also an Artanis against you, so there's no real downside to it. The level 13 talents brought us the triple strikes. Once again, Artanis going for the active parry. We have him with a lethal alacrity. We're seeing him with warp sickness, suppression pulse, and also the triple strike taken. The unfair advantage for Lunara. And we're having her on the Thornwood Vines. Besides that, Illusionist has been taken as well as on level 7 Calamity. So those more of a teleport focus on the build over what we normally see these days, which is more of a missile focus, I would say. But still, also, yeah, well, Malfurion, of course, obviously going to the Ice Block. That isn't really a surprise if you think about it. That poor guy has been attacked in every single situation along the game and taken down. I think he died 4 or 5 times already in this game. So, yeah, that's a no-brainer to go for this talent. Once again, they're starting to jump into the middle. Look at that damage output, by the way. Greyman is at 21k, but still 23,000 full stat. The build works out for him. Lunara's at 20,000 herself, and Li Ming is, of course, also trying to get the damage in. Andy Lendy is already on Slug Alert here, trying to get the tribute quite easily. There's mines, toxic nests everywhere, so he sees opponents coming a mile away. So they get the tribute number 2, by the way, for them, and they can still siege at the middle of the map, which they do quite nicely. They have one camp pushing the top, and of course with them all being gathered in the middle of the map, we still see Abathur soaking experience, slapping away at the minions down here, and he can also just like push the lanes. So the slug is slapping away, and that's amazing for them right now, because they can just like soak experience the entire time with Abathur. He can jump to the top now, which is exactly what he does, push that even more, and at the same time we're having down here another siege opportunity for the rest of the team. And look at that lead in experience. Thanks to Abathur, thanks to them just dominating the map, controlling it, sieging up at the bot lane, buying time for Abathur, they're getting more and more experience. They will hit level 20 so much faster than the opponent. And as long as there's not even level 16 talents around for Team Umbra, they have no risk in doing so. They can just like do that 6 days a Sunday and soak experience, like delay a little bit, wait for another tribute to open up on the map before they can move over there. And of course it allows Abathur to just put toxic nests everywhere. So once again, tribute is up at the top. Andy Lendy is already in a bush, needs to move away, but they still have the walls here. I mean, they still have their fort, every single one of them. So we see a couple of toxic nests. Stier is already poking from a distance. Stork looking for a chance, and he's about to move in. Oh, that's an early ice block. Suppression pulse used. No, the interrupt against Stork, not his best mosh pit, but Sphinxie still with the damage. Lunara is down, killed by Greymane at the top. Here comes again Greymane also with a quick Divine Shield. But yeah, things are looking really bad. Li Ming down, Lunara down, this is Artanis gone. And now we have finally level 16 talents. But let's face it, this is going to be an easy keep at least. 3 level advantage, getting closer to level 20 now. 16 gave the opponent the Zealot charge now finally. Starwood Spear, Abathur taking the tribute. And with that, they can easily move in to eliminate now Johanna as well. Tatze is low and taken down. This is the keep, and let's see how far they're going to push things here. Are they going to go for the core? It doesn't feel like it. They are moving into the middle right now. And yes, they go for core. They go for core. They have the level 20. There comes the Storm Shield. Hive Mind. Double Storm Shield, actually, because they say, guys, we can finish this. I'm not so sure that they can, though. I mean, they could take a few more of these keeps, and they already took the one at the bot lane, but Unstable is in a bit of a pickle there. Needs to move away. They jump in again with a kill against Malfurion, and the kill against Lunara. Down they go, one after another. Shock and awe, blast them away. Li Ming, ding, 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 and she is dead. 37,000 damage on Falstad. An easy game, 17 kills against 1, and Epsilon takes the 1-0 lead in the best of 3 series. Okay, guys, so game number 2 is going to be on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Epsilon Esports actually with a ban on Falstad. That is a bit of a surprise here, I want to say. Maybe they figure that that new Boomerang build is a bit too strong to deal with. But yeah, I would have expected a different ban here at the start. Of course, for us, Xul is allowed. Team Umbra, they ban Zagara, and Xul is taken. So, we have Epsilon Esports already with a 1-0 lead here in the semi-final. Team Umbra realizing immediately, well, they obviously knew what would happen here, so they say, okay, that's fine, you get Xul, but we have Li Ming and Rega locked down immediately. So actually like a pretty strong start for them into the draft as well. Then again, Xul has been shown already during this tournament how strong he can be, and let's not forget that Tomb of the Spider Queen is probably one of the best maps for him, since he has incredible wave clear and siege damage that he can put to the table to just like make sure that you push the opponent back and get control over the turning points. So Epsilon, they need to complement it a little bit. If they like with the Bone Prison overall, anything that can really like stun or has like on point damage is strong. For example, a Jaina together with Xul can do amazing damage. A Tyrande can even like go for more burst thanks to all of this. So we have seen Tyrande comms earlier. We've actually like seen Diablo, Xul, I think it was like Tyrande and Thrall in the setup, which was a bit insane as is. But if you also use, for example, a Jaina here, Muradin, like anything that can really like stun a target that has already been like attacked with the Bone Prison, then you can get amazing lockdown and kill potential here. So that might be one of the things that Epsilon is considering here as well. Overall, of course, Xul as is already a great utility damage dealer, oftentimes ending up with a very high damage numbers and also like siege damage overall. But Epsilon hasn't really made a choice just yet as to how exactly they want to play the map here. So for us personally, it's of course more or less a question of how they are trying to try and run this. Oh, actually, Johanna at the front line. Personally, I would say, I'd say that Johanna is surprising me slightly. I could have seen something along the lines of an ETC or a Muradin over a Johanna here to just like complement a little bit more on what they have here. So Johanna, by no means a bad hero or anything. I mean, she is fantastic on Tomb of the Spider Queen. I just would have loved maybe a bit more synergy in this case. But of course, we're still early in the draft, so we might find out what exactly their thought process is at this point. There is that Jaina, as I said. She's very, very strong if you actually have Xul in the setup. But again, Johanna is a bit of an odd pick, I would say, considering the setup. She's amazing for Doom of the Spider Queen. Nightek Spawn is a great tool, but if you run with a Jaina already and a Xul, then I feel something along the lines of a Muradin or, of course, an ETC might be even stronger. So that later on you can also capitalize on a Mosh Pit with Jaina, Ring of Frost, and also, of course, get that Blizzard damage in there. With the Muradin, Stormbolt works quite well too. But yeah, let's find out what exactly they're going to go for in the later picks here. Already Umbra with a Rhaegar pick, so if they want to, they can limit the healer chances a little bit. There's still great damage dealers out there. So one of the damage dealers, for example, that we have seen constantly picked is Greymane. So maybe we have a ban on that, depending on how Umbra wants to play it. Personally, I believe that if Umbra doesn't really like pick Greymane, that they have to ban it at this point. He's just like too good. Even after the changes, I feel the hero is absolutely amazing and brings so much really to the game and any kind of team composition that it would be very, very silly to not ban or pick him at this point. So Team Umbra has to make that choice. The Li Ming play, oh, they go actually for a ban on Arthur's. Now, I mean, I can see how Arthur's could be annoying considering, well, maybe they are trying to go for one of the stealth heroes here. But even without that, Arthur's can be quite annoying because of Syndragosa. And let's not forget that, of course, with the Howling Blast, he has another tool where you can lock a target down. That lets me to believe that they are going to try and take Muradin. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Muradin Greymane chosen by Umbra as the next two picks. Unless, of course, Epsilon Esports bans one of them out. But they ban Leoric first of all. Okay. So like Leoric already banned out. Which eliminates a fair amount of wave clear, actually, from Team Umbra. Again, I could totally see that Greymane now being picked. He has nice wave clear. He is also very good to like jump on the back line. We have with Muradin a hero that they can use as well for an additional stun if they really want to. It's a great frontliner. ETC is also still around, so let's not forget about that. But I feel the Greymane at least is a must-have. In my personal opinion, he's like a must-pick hero at this point. If they don't get him, then I think chances are that Epsilon Esports are going to go for Greymane. So Team Umbra, they go for Tyrande. Okay, so they might be a bit afraid that Epsilon Esports is going to add even more lockdown to the Bone Prison together with that Jaina. That's definitely something that might scare you a little bit. And we have seen Rhaegar Tyrande compositions already, so that works. There's the Greymane. Okay, I like that. Epsilon Esports would have chosen it. They still lack a tank, and now slowly and steadily the options when it comes to tanks are getting rather thin, because Johanna's taken, Leoric is banned, so is Arthur's, so Mirrodin is still around, and ETC as well. I suppose that we could see Epsilon Esports picking one of them up, but they still need a healer as well. And with heals, depending on what they go for, it could be the Charism. They could also, of course, head straight into... yeah, Charism's taken. I suppose they could have gone into an Uther, but I feel with the setup that they're running right now, you don't get too much value out of Uther as a choice. So for Epsilon, let's see, they have a Jaina, they have a Xul, they have Jaina at the front. I'm really thinking about a second tank here. I'm not quite sure if I like it too much. Maybe a Sonya if you want to go for like a second tank. Sonya would probably help you a little bit. Could go, in theory, for a Thrall, I suppose. I guess Sonya or Thrall would be nice additions to the setup. Diablo is being chosen here. Okay, so... I guess you pick it away from your opponent so that Diablo Tyrande is not going to be a thing, even though I'm not sure how scared you have to be of that, because Charism has of course also experienced a few changes. Echo of Heaven on level 7 is not as strong as it was before, meaning that it's easier for you to access Cleanse. So you don't have to make that super difficult decision anymore. Do I get the main heal or do I get a Cleanse? You can take that Cleanse now quite, like... You don't really have to give up as much heal as before if you go for Cleanse. Uther is being taken right now. Sorry, Mirrodin, that is. I could have definitely seen like a Sonya for Epsilon Esports. I feel they could have done with damage here, but they have also now an Apocalypse. They can use that together with Xul as well. And they have also, of course, that Jaina. But yeah, very heavy front line for them right now to create a bit of space. A bit heavier than I thought. I thought they would go into a more of a bruiser type frontliner after they pick Johanna here. Still a setup that can definitely work. For Team Umbra, of course, the rotation that we're going to see up at the top is going to include Tyrande and Mirrodin. I suppose that we might see Greymane at the bot lane, maybe even Rhaegar, depending on what he has to go up against. But if Xul is at the bot lane, that's going to be a bit of a problem. As is, Epsilon Esports is in a 1-0 lead, and we could see a 2-0 if they are able to take their opponent down now. So guys, we're going to jump into Tomb of the Spider Queen, our second map here in the semi-final at the ZOTAC Cup Monthly, to find out which team is going to take it. Game number 2, ladies and gentlemen, between Epsilon and Umbra at the semi-final of the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final. And well, currently Epsilon is in the lead, the team in blue to the left side of the map with a Stalk on Diablo. We have Sphyxy on Johanna, Styr on Xul, Anilendi on Jaina, and Unstable on Charism. Devo to the right side for Team Umbra is playing Li Ming. We have Tats on Mirrodin, Knacksaft on Greymane, Xavalosh on Rhaegar, and Saber on Tyrande. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting game, I'd say. I mean, like, one of the most important parts, of course, is that once again we have Xul in game. And that is going to be quite fun, because we all saw the Bone Prison action a little bit earlier already when the Sandwich Monkeys played the hero. But now we have an opportunity to witness that again. Still a very heavy front line here with, well, Diablo plus Johanna. When it comes to talents, we see also an adjustment here. Shade has been taken. So the Bone Armor, the trade, you actually, in this case, have an evasion over the damage that we saw from the Sandwich Monkeys. The Scythe already used. I would still be surprised to unfall or see the increased range on the Scythe. But yeah, the rest is going to be pretty debatable on how exactly he's going to be skilled here. We see him a little bit more often right now. Most of the time Xul was actually banned out so far, but at least we get a bit of an inkling of how exactly the hero is being played here. Down to the bottom of the map we have, as already expected, Greymane. Knacksaft is playing against Styr here, so Xul is bringing his siege damage and wave clear into the game now at this point. Already with a Scythe taking down a few of those hit points. It's a 4-1 split for both of the teams, and the rotation between mid and top lane has already started. A very powerful rotation actually on the side of especially Epsilon, considering that they are running with a double tank here. Keep in mind that Anilendi later on is definitely going to try and capitalize on the Bone Prison with this Blizzard. I mean, if you get a lockdown against any kind of target and go for that, it's great. Also an adjustment here in builds. That's a cool thing if you are playing a double support with a Tyrande. That if you play a full support like a Rhaegar and not only a utility support like a Faceta, you can actually like adjust the build on Tyrande quite significantly. And that's what happens right now. Ranger's Mark is already chosen, so they're trying to capitalize on that Mirrodin and Tyrande burst. So they're attempting to get that in a bit more often. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the talent, to be honest with you. I think it's very strong early on in the game, but I feel like there's a couple of adjustments that you can make that make you more dangerous towards the later stages of the game when it also like matters. So overall, still the more important part is that they can adjust on Tyrande as well. They could go into searing arrows, for example, as well if they really wanted to. So there's a couple of things that you can do in such a setting. Stark is still soaking experience here. Both of the teams, of course, just like pretty calmly trying to get maybe a little bit ahead. Maybe like a surprise kill somewhere, but nothing too much out of the ordinary. There's no real aggression just yet. They're both waiting for a chance. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if one of those heroes oversteps his boundary for one moment, then all of a sudden, boom, in your face, there's a lockdown and you're dead. But still, this is going to be one of those scenarios where in the early game, it's more or less like a very peaceful rotation between the mid and the top. With a slight domination here on the side of Epsilon though. Like they have a bit more control over the turning point. Styr and Knacksaft at the bot lane. We can really tell that first tower is down. Second one is already rather low. So Xul is showcasing his prowess already against Greymane. The rotation up at the top is happening. And as expected, by the way, we are seeing the Death's Reach. So the Scythe now with the increased range by 20%. Also, Eternal Retaliation has been used, which is going to make the life of Johanna a bit easier when it comes to the wave clear. Especially once the Web Weavers are released. You just get one condemn after another, which helps a lot. We're also seeing now the Spirit Walker's Grace chosen, so mana cost reduction for Rhaegar. And as expected, the Searing Arrows taken for Tyrande. So both of the heroes making slight adjustments in their build now. And stun and lockdown against Tyrande, but sorry, against Jaina by Tyrande, but we have Stalk in position immediately, healing for Andilendi, making sure that he would not die in this situation. So Xul at the bot lane still starting to pressure, and we have a slight experience lead thanks to that. They're going for Saber, and now they're trying to get the kill in. Here comes Stalk as well, and this is gonna be the end of Tyrande. Yeah, Stalk is finishing it up. Get the kill in. Very close to a completed turn, by the way, as well. Here comes Styr and the Bone Prison on Rhaegar, but he was able to move away here, so not locked down. Turn in, about to be completed. Diablo down though. Andilendi turned in, but they are still 4 gems, 3 gems short. Bone Prison used, and in comes Fixie with a condemn. Good kill against Rhaegar in this case. Knacksaft gets away, but you can already tell that the lockdown attempts on Xul are just incredibly dangerous. And it's really one of those moments where just looking at it and you're just like thinking, oh my god, please save me. I could have actually seen a cleanse. I actually think there is going to be a cleanse on Rhaegar. If you see that, then cleanse is great. The cooldown, of course, is a bit long. You have a 60-second cooldown on cleanse, so that's a bit annoying. The Bone Prison has a much shorter cooldown there, so that's never going to be an issue for you. Diablo, once again in the opponent's face. The Web Weavers are descending, and there's intense pressure now against the red team, against Umbra. We are seeing cleanse on Rhaegar, as already expected. That is, of course, yeah, I mean, you need that in this situation. We are also having, after Dominance and the hit point restoration, now Seeker chosen. And of course, Tyrande with the Lunar Blaze. By the way, Rathma's Blessing once again, so we have a bit of an adjustment here. Now we have more sustain for Xul. If you think about like the last game where we've seen, especially of course like Sandwich Monkeys, it was a bit of a different style that they played here. But Styr is currently playing the entire time a solo lane against Knacksaft, and he's doing actually quite well with this. Already the lockdown thanks to the Bone Prism. He moves in, goes for the combo attempt, and Knacksaft has to get away here. So Styr has incredible lane sustain right now thanks to his talents. We're having also Conviction taken for Johanna. And just with this first Web Weaver wave, it's a 1.5 level lead that we already see on the side of Epsilon. They are incredibly far ahead now, and they have 42 gems that they can turn in. And of course the big threat to the red team is that if they don't get their own turn in, if just level 10 hits and Epsilon can delay the turn in of Umbra a bit longer, they will be able to get a second turn in without any problems whatsoever. And then they can just like snowball that completely out of control. And that's of course exactly what they're looking for right now. So level 10 should be something that they're able to get, and there it is. And that should secure them the second turn in. Already we have Apocalypse chosen, the Ring of Frost, Blessed Shield, Divine Palm, and the Poison Over for Xul. They're starting to move in. Here comes Stalk. They're going for it, but Diablo is low. Keep those level 10s in mind. They can turn in again. They're 48 gems, so they're only 7 short. Claiming a few more. but they are still pressuring the lanes instead. Stork turns in, Andilendi is on the way. There's a camp that they've been taken, so this camp has to be depushed. That binds 2 heroes already into the mid lane, so they won't be able to contest the turn-in attempt up at the top. Sphinxy with a turn-in successful, 44 turned in, 13 left. That's the chance for Xul to complete it, and once he does that, then Team Umbra is going to be in a world of pain. And yeah, he's already on it, completes the turn-in, and now they can really start to get far ahead. Because at this point, they will not only easily take down the fort in the mid lane, they can actually start to take down the wall at the keep. Especially since they still have access to that level 10 ability, and this is just nowhere to be seen just for Team Umbra. Umbra is in such a defensive spot that they can only try and poke with Li Ming and with Greymane, and that's already about it. And every single time one of them, it's basically a game of whack-a-mole right now. Every single time they poke their head out, there's immediately going to be Xul with a Bone Prison, and there's also like Stork who just like jumps in, goes for a lockdown, tries to stun them out. So every single time you poke your head out, you immediately get slapped away. And that's why they have to play so super defensive here. Look at Tatsu. He moves in, gets a clap out, jumps away. Finally, they have level 10, and they try to turn it around. It's a 5 versus 5 in a moment, but Sphinxy is a bit late to the party. Here comes the stun into Apocalypse, and the double kill. The double kill quite easily at that. Here comes the Ancestral Healing, but Bone Prison is locking down Rhaegar, and the Scythe is cutting his throat. Very well done. Triple kill for Team Epsilon. Very well done. Immediately that Blessed Shield being used, and of course at the same time as the Apocalypse, so it was a great stun into stun combo, and then they could just unleash the entire wrath of that combination here, using the Poison Nova as well. We're already seeing the Fists of Fury taken here on the side of Karazim, who decided to not go into Relentless. And, well, for now, the kill against alright, Xul is dead, the Necromancer is down, and it looks like Sphinxy is gonna fall as well. Yep, Sphinxy is dead too. So they're not giving this game up just yet. Yeah, they lost a couple of heroes, yes, they lost the momentum, and they also lost a ton of gems in those last few fights, but they haven't lost the game yet. The Web Weaver, the bot lane, has been taken out. Look at all of those walls that have been falling, by the way. It's a 2-level lead, it's a talent lead. We still don't have a level 13 talent for Xul yet, by the way. Stork is just sitting there and saying like, hey buddy, how you doing? The problem is that everybody else is also starting to move in. And the lockdown, the kill, nice. Tatsu has most of the gems, by the way, on the side of the part, but yeah, Diablo's a bit too far out, and Stork is down. And then he gets away. Zebra is actually like hitting another owl there, but still. So at this point, the level 10 abilities at least brought them a bit back. The keep in the mid lane hasn't fallen yet, and that's the important part. So the keep in the mid lane isn't down yet. Here comes once again Stör. He went straight into the curse strikes here with a giant curse. Massive sustain. Not only Rama's blessing, but at this point also the damage depending on the health. So that's going to be another like big talent here. The sustain for him is good in these fights, as long as he can of course like fight and raise his skeletons. This is going to be the important part. So that particular is going to be great against like Muradin, for example. It's going to be a great talent with the giant curse here. But at the same time, the keep in the mid lane has now been eliminated. That Scythe is just like too strong every time, just like being bashed out here. And with the rest, they have enough poke to make sure that this keep does not survive. So one keep already down, 10 minutes into the game. Level 15, close enough to 13. Well, soon TM. But still, that might be the chance that they need to fight on even talents and get their turn, because they have 90 gems. They have 90 gems quite easily. Yeah, well, there comes okay, so they took the camp at the bot lane, moved straight up to the top to interrupt it again. As long as level 13 isn't there yet, they are very reluctant to fight, and I can blame them. I mean, like, you need that extra talent. It's of course like a small advantage that you have, but especially like that Ice Book, for example, on Jaina makes it very safe for the damage. They are going for the boss, and that's actually like a pretty interesting move here. First of all, we have a bit of zoning happening by Sphinxy, but besides that, nobody seems to be aware that boss is currently being attacked, and if they get the boss, it would be fantastic for them, and they will be easily able to get that. The owl is too late, they won't be able to be there in time, and that's another major advantage right now. Level 13 talents are finally there with the Burning Rage on Muradin, and we're seeing also now the tidal waves for Rhaegar, plus Huntress Fury, which is going to be great attack speed. And that's of course something that especially like synergizes very well with the searing arrows. But now they more or less are guaranteed to put incredible damage up at the top lane or to the bot lane, where we still have that camp pushing, which was not depushed. Level 16 is going to be really close. So once again, it's a loss-loss situation for Team Umbra. They either lose the top lane or they have to send someone down to the bottom of the map, and then they might again lose the top lane. There's the Northern Exposure, Fanaticism, Amplified Damage, Rampage after Firestorm. And now it's time to shine. Keep is gone, and that's the second one in the game already. 16 versus 13. They have the gems as well. Disintegrate doesn't really do too much, but tickle the boss a little bit. And that's about it. So all that Epsilon has to do right now is move back, play it safe, get those gems turned in, get rid of them, soak the lanes a little bit more, make sure that they are pushing the bot lane as well, I suppose, if they really want to. They could actually do that. Like, they could move down to the bot lane and just, like, push this in a bit more if they wanted to. Because besides that, there's very little to do on the map right now. They have complete control over the entire map. And when it comes to damage, by the way, Xul is currently 91,000 siege damage. Only, well, yeah, it's actually true. Only Greymane has more siege damage than he does. 98,000 for him, 14,000 hero damage. Is still pretty solid. I mean, it's nothing like too amazing, but still, it's pretty good if you think about like the position that he was in. Most of the game he spent at the bot lane in a 1 versus 1 situation against Greymane. So 14,000 isn't too shabby, considering that he wasn't part of the 4-man rotation throughout the early game. Again, the rotation down to the bottom of the map. They could try and poke for keep, and that's exactly what they are starting to do. So already the scythe has been used, and here comes the Blizzard. That's going to be an easy snipe. Only question is, can they stay alive? Here comes the attack. Tatsu is starting to move in. Stormbolt against Karazim. Stun combo is off, but they can't move away. So already, 13 minutes into the game, no keep is left. Not a single one. Meaning that one more turn in would more or less play them to the wall. 41 gems, 42, that's what they have at this point. They're starting to take the camp away of the opponent as well. Like Savalosh is there, Muradin with a turn-in attempt. He has 54, he can get the Web Weavers right now, and they are going to be able to get those. The only thing, by the way, that the Web Weavers are going to do at this point is push the lanes back. Like, they won't be able to take any structures down. It's a mere lane push, nothing else. And they need that, because look at those lanes. They are at the core already. The Web Weavers at least going to be able to help them a bit with that. But it's nowhere near enough. They need to turn structures down. They need level 16. They need something. And the Web Weavers actually blasted away in the mid lane already. That Web Weaver hasn't even seen anything. Like, it's immediately dead. And yes, that could be, not quite the end of Muradin. Not really the best target for a Bone Prison, if you ask me. Second Web Weaver is 2 as well. I mean, they lasted for like 2 or 3 seconds, and that's already about it. Here comes the attack against Muradin. Muradin gets the heal. Ancestral is through. Here comes the Apocalypse. Already the Nova, Poison Nova has been chosen and used. Muradin is dead, and this is going to be the end. The entire Epsilon team is collapsing onto the core now, trying to end the game here, and they are dropping the hit points fast. Ring of Frost, they go for Greymane, and the Bone Prison is finishing him off. This is GG, level 16 doesn't even matter anymore. A 2-0 victory for Epsilon, and they advance to the grand final of the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final to face the Sandwich Monkeys. GG, well played, and now we have Epsilon with a 2-0 victory here after Tomb of the Spider Queen.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is GG and the end of another series here on KhaldorTV with Heroes of the Storm. So once again, we have another video finished, and I hope that you enjoyed the commentary and that you liked the game, of course, as well. It was a pleasure casting the match for you. And if you guys really enjoyed it, then make sure that you give that video a thumbs up on YouTube. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, feel free to do that too. If you have friends that are interested in Heroes of the Sports esports scene, then definitely recommend the channel to them, or just show them the video if they want to see like a bit how the pros are drafting here, especially of course when it comes to the North American scene, European scene. And I mean, these days we even have a couple of Chinese games on the channel here, so I hope that you enjoy that as well. That being said, thank you very much for watching again. I'm going to see you guys next time with more Heroes of the Storm content here on the channel. Have a great day and enjoy your week, and see you soon. Bye bye.